Hey there everyone! Welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's close to all of our hearts: cancer. Cancer is a complex and multifaceted disease that affects millions of people worldwide. It's a term used to describe a group of diseases that can affect any part of the body. Cancer is characterized by the uncontrolled growth of abnormal cells, which can invade and destroy healthy tissue. There are many types of cancer, each with its own unique set of symptoms and treatments. It's important to remember that early detection is key to successful treatment. If you or someone you know is experiencing symptoms that could be related to cancer, it's crucial to seek medical attention as soon as possible. Spotting cancer at an early stage saves lives. So today we will be looking at cancer in terms of how you can recognize its signs and symptoms and the hallmarks that characterizes malignant tumors. A tumor is an abnormal mass of tissue that forms when cells grow and divide more than they should. This creates a lump or growth in the body. Tumors can be non-cancerous, benign, or cancerous malignant, depending on whether they spread to other parts of the body or not. Benign tumors do not metastasize or spread from its original site, while malignant tumors can spread from one part of the body to another. Now let's look at malignant tumors or cancer, which refers to a collection of diseases characterized by abnormal cell growth that can invade or spread to other areas of the body. Spotting cancer at an early stage saves lives, so tell your doctor if you notice anything that isn't normal for you. You do not need to try and remember all the symptoms and signs of cancer. You just need to listen to your body and talk to your doctor if you notice anything that isn't normal for you. Some of the signs and symptoms are more often caused by something less serious than cancer. But if it is cancer, spotting it early can make a real difference. What are the signs and symptoms of cancer? There are over 200 different types of cancer that can cause many different signs and symptoms. Sometimes these symptoms may affect specific areas of the body, such as the breast or skin. Some possible signs of cancer, like a lump, are macroscopic and thus are better known than others. But this doesn't mean they're more important or more likely to be cancer. Thus, it is important to get any possible symptom of cancer checked out. Therefore, it is important to be aware of what is normal for you. And speak to your doctor if you notice any unusual changes or something that just won't go away. This can help to diagnose cancer at an early stage when treatment is more likely to be successful. Here are the general symptoms of cancer. Unexplained weight loss. Small changes in weight over time are quite normal, but if you have lost a noticeable amount of weight without trying to, you should tell your doctor. Heavy night sweats or fever. High temperature fever or heavy sweating can be caused by infections or a side effect of certain medications. It's also often experienced by women around the time of the menopause. But speak to your doctor if you have very heavy drenching night sweats or an unexplained fever. Unexplained bruising or bleeding. Unexplained bleeding or bruising when you have not hurt yourself is important to get checked out by your doctor. This includes blood in your urine or feces, as well as vomiting or coughing up blood. It also includes any unexplained vaginal bleeding between periods, after sex, or after the menopause. No matter how much blood or what color it is, blood can be red or a darker color like brown or black. You should speak to your doctor. Fatigue. There are lots of reasons why people feel, but if you're feeling tired all the time or for no clear reason, it could be a sign that something is wrong. Speak to your doctor. Unexplained pain or ache. Pain is one way our body screams when something is wrong, but unexplained or persistent pain anywhere in the body could be a sign of something more serious. Unusual lump or swelling anywhere. Persistent lumps or swelling in any part of your body should be taken seriously. This includes any lumps in the breast, neck, armpit, stomach, groin, chest, or testicle. With more than 200 types of cancer, and each with its own characteristics and subcategories. Cancers are classified by where they start in the body, the type of cell they start in, and other characteristics. Types of cancer. Cancer can be classified in multiple ways, including by tissue type. This type of cancers is called carcinoma. It includes cancer that begins in the skin or in tissues that line or cover internal organs. Sarcoma are cancers that arise from connective tissues, such as bone, cartilage, fat, or muscle. Leukemia are cancers that begin in the blood-forming tissues, leading to an overproduction of abnormal white blood cells. Lymphoma is a type of cancer that starts in the immune system, while melanoma includes cancers that begins in melanocytes, the cells that produce pigment in the skin. 2. Secondly, cancers can be classified by location. Examples include breast cancer, lung cancer, prostate cancer, and colorectal cancer. 3. Lastly, cancers are classified by stage. Stages range from localized to advanced or metastatic cancer. Here are some examples of cancer types. Breast cancer, a common type of cancer. Lung cancer, the deadliest cancer worldwide with two major types: small cell lung cancer, SCLC, and non-small cell lung cancer, NSCLC. Brain and spinal cord cancers. Cancers that start in the brain or spinal cord cells. Lymphomas and myeloma. Cancers of the lymphatic system which filters body fluid and fights infection. Skin cancers can be basal cell carcinomas, squamous cell carcinomas, or melanomas. Blood cancers. Cancers that start in blood cells or the lymphatic system, such as leukemia, lymphoma, and multiple myeloma. Healthcare providers categorize cancers into three broad classifications: solid, blood, and mixed. Solid cancers make up about 80% to 90% of all cases. Let's consider the causes and risk factors. Malignant tumors. Cancer arises from genetic mutations that can be influenced by a variety of factors. Some individuals have inherited gene mutations that increase their risks of having certain kinds of cancer. For instance, BRCA1 and BRCA2 mutations are associated with breast and ovarian cancers. If you have familial history of cancer, genetic testing can locate mutated genes or chromosomes that cause genetic-linked cancers. Environmental and lifestyle factors such as tobacco use, diet and obesity, alcohols, sun exposure, ultraviolet UV radiation, and infections can increase cancer risk. We will discuss in detail. Let's take a look at the hallmarks of cancer. The hallmarks of cancer represent 6 biological capabilities that tumors acquire during their multi-step development in humans. These hallmarks serve as a framework for understanding the complexities of malignant diseases, and they include: 1. Their ability to sustain proliferative signaling. 2. Ability to evade growth suppressors. 3. Resisting cell death. 4. Enabling replicative immortality. 5. Inducing angiogenesis, which is the process of new blood vessels forming from existing blood vessels. And lastly, activating invasion and metastasis, that is, the ability of cancer to spread to other parts of the body. At the core of these hallmarks are 2 critical factors: genome instability, which leads to genetic diversity. That facilitates the acquisition of these capabilities, as well as inflammation, which supports the various hallmark functions. Beyond cancer cells, tumors also display a level of complexity due to the presence of various recruited, seemingly normal cells that contribute to the development of hallmark traits by shaping the tumor microenvironment. In the last decade, 2 emerging hallmarks have been added to this list. They include reprogramming of energy metabolism and evading immune destruction. As normal cells transition to a neoplastic state, they gradually acquire a series of these hallmark capabilities. Tumors are not merely isolated masses of proliferating cancer cells. Rather, they are complex tissues composed of various distinct cell types that engage in heterotypic interactions. Heterotypic interactions here refers to the interactions between different types of cells and the tumor cells. Heterotypic interactions are particularly significant in cancer because tumor cells do not exist in isolation. They are surrounded by a variety of non-cancerous cells, including immune cells, fibroblasts, endothelial cells, and stromal cells. The communication between these different cell types can influence tumor growth, metastasis, and responses to therapy. Let's take a look at the first hallmark of cancer: sustaining proliferative signaling. Cancer cells have defects in the control mechanisms that govern how often they divide. Normal cells grow and divide but have many controls on that growth. They only grow when stimulated by growth factors. If they are damaged, a molecular break stops them from dividing until they are repaired. If they can't be repaired, they commit programmed cell death, apoptosis, or suicide. They can only divide a limited number of times. They are part of a tissue structure and remain where they belong. They don't travel to other parts outside their architecture, and they need a blood supply to grow. Cancer cells exhibit an ability to multiply without relying on external signals, such as growth factors. In healthy cells, growth and division depend on hormones and other signaling molecules. However, cancer cells can bypass this requirement through several mechanisms. They may produce their own growth signals, a process known as autocrine signaling. Permanently activate the signaling pathways that respond to growth signals, or disable the off switches that prevent uncontrolled growth, negative feedback mechanisms. In normal non-cancerous cells, the processes governing cell division are tightly regulated. In contrast, cancer cells undergo deregulation due to alterations in the proteins that manage these processes, leading to increased rates of growth and division. This occurs in a series of steps which are referred to as hallmarks. The next hallmark feature of cancer cells is their ability to evade growth suppressors. Here, let's take a look at the cell cycle clock. Let's look at how normal and cancerous cell growth occur within the cell cycle. Cells do not divide in GO and are quiescent. After receiving growth factor signals, they prepare for division by entering G1, where everything within the cell except DNA is doubled. This doubling includes the size of the cell. The next phase of the cell cycle is S-synthesis phase. It is the cell cycle phase where the chromosomes' DNA are duplicated in preparation for cellular division. The transition from G1 to S is a checkpoint. A checkpoint in the context of the cell cycle is a critical control mechanism that ensures the proper progression of a cell through its phases. Specifically, checkpoints act as surveillance points where the cell evaluates whether certain criteria are met before continuing to the next phase. For the transition from the G1 phase to the S phase, the G1 checkpoint checks for several factors, including 1. Cell size. The cell must be of adequate size to divide properly. Nutrient availability. The cell must have enough nutrients to support the synthesis of DNA. 3. DNA integrity. The checkpoint assesses whether the DNA is damaged, and if so, processes are initiated to repair it before DNA replication begins. 4. Growth factors. The presence of specific signaling molecules that stimulate cell division must be present before cell division cycle can continue. If these criteria are not met, the cell may enter a resting state GO phase, or undergo programmed cell death, apoptosis, instead of continuing to the S phase, where DNA. This regulatory system is crucial in maintaining the health of the cell and preventing issues such as cancer. With these checkpoints, if the cell has damaged DNA or is expressing inappropriate proteins, specialized checkpoint proteins or tumor suppressors, such as p53, will interrupt the transition to S phase until the damage is repaired. If the damage cannot be repaired, the cell will commit suicide and die, which often refer to programmed cell death. If the tumor suppressor genes have a genetic mutation, the damaged cell can continue to divide unchecked. One of the hallmarks of cancer. In cancer, these tumor suppressor proteins are altered so that they don't effectively prevent cell division, even when the cell has severe abnormalities. One of the most significant tumor suppressors is known as p53. It plays such a critical role in regulation of cell division and cell death. This p53 tumor suppressor gene is mutated or functionally inactivated in about 70% of cancer cells. Another way cells prevent overdivision is that normal cells will also stop dividing when the cells fill up the space they are in and touch other cells. This is known as contact inhibition. Cancer cells do not have contact inhibition, and so will continue to grow and divide regardless of their surroundings. The third hallmark symptom of cancer is evading programmed cell death. Apoptosis is a form of programmed cell death, cell suicide. The mechanism by which cells are programmed to die in the event they become damaged. Cancer cells are characteristically able to bypass this mechanism. Cells have the ability to self-destruct. Just like the EXD series infiltrator droids in Star Wars have the self-destruct mechanisms, just so they don't become dangerous. This is required for organisms to grow and develop properly, for maintaining tissues of the body, and is also initiated when a cell is damaged or infected. Cancer cells, however, lose this ability. Even though cells may become grossly abnormal, they do not undergo self-destruction. The cancer cells may do this by altering the mechanisms that detect the damage or abnormalities. This means that proper signaling cannot occur. Thus, cell suicide cannot activate. They may also have defects in the downstream signaling itself, or the proteins involved in apoptosis, each of which will also prevent proper apoptosis. The fourth hallmark of cancer is limitless replicative potential, or enabling replicative immortality. Non-cancer cells die after a certain number of divisions. Mutant cells escape this limit and are apparently capable of indefinite growth and division immortality. But those immortal cells have damaged chromosomes, which can become cancerous. Cells of the body don't normally have the ability to divide indefinitely. They have a limited number of divisions before the cells become unable to divide, senescence, or die crisis. The cause of these barriers is primarily due to the DNA at the end of chromosomes, known as telomeres. Telomeric DNA shortens with every cell division, till it becomes so short that it activates senescence, that is aging, so the cell stops dividing. Cancer cells bypass this barrier by manipulating the enzymes called telomerase to increase the length of telomeres at the end of the defective cancer cell's chromosome. Thus, they can divide indefinitely without initiating senescence. Most tumor cells are immortalized. In the laboratory setting, when cells are grown in culture, repeated cycles of cell division will first lead to induction of senescence or aging, and then, for those cells that succeed in circumventing this barrier, to a crisis phase, in which the great majority of cells in the population die. On rare occasion, cells emerge from a population in crisis and exhibit unlimited replicative potential. This transition is termed immortalization, a trait that most established cell lines possess by virtue of their ability to proliferate in culture, without evidence of either senescence or crisis. Telomeres, the specialized DNA polymerase that adds telomere repeat segments to the ends of telomeric DNA, is almost absent in non-immortalized cells, but expressed in abundance in spontaneously immortalized cells, including human cancer cells. By extending the DNA sequence at the end of the chromosome, the enzyme telomerase is able to counter the progressive erosion that would otherwise occur in its absence. It is believed that telomeres protecting the ends of chromosomes are centrally involved in the capability for unlimited proliferation. Also, cancer cells can induce and sustain angiogenesis. Like normal tissues, tumors require a steady supply of nutrients and oxygen, as well as a means to remove metabolic waste and carbon dioxide. Angiogenesis refers to the formation of new blood vessels, a process that is crucial for tumor growth. Cancer cells can initiate angiogenesis by signaling for the development of new vasculature, thereby ensuring a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients. They influence the surrounding non-cancerous cells to produce more factors that promote blood vessel formation while reducing those that inhibit it. This capability not only supports tumor growth, but also facilitates further expansion and development of the cancerous environment. The blood vessels that develop within tumors due to chronically activated angiogenesis, combined with an unbalanced array of proangiogenic signals, are often abnormal. Tumor blood vessels is characterized by excessive capillary sprouting, convoluted vessel branching, distorted and enlarged vessels, erratic blood flow, bleeding, increased permeability, and atypical levels of endothelial cell proliferation and apoptosis. Vascular endothelial growth factor VEGF is a crucial signaling protein involved in the process of angiogenesis, which is the formation of new blood vessels from existing ones. Tissue invasion and metastasis. One of the defining traits of cancer is its ability to invade surrounding tissues and metastasize to distant organs. This capacity is crucial for determining whether a tumor is benign or malignant. Cancer cells must undergo a series of changes to acquire the ability to metastasize, beginning with local invasion into surrounding tissues. This invasion relies on several key processes, including the epithelial to mesenchymal transition, EMT, during which epithelial cells lose their polarity or directionality and adhesion properties and acquire traits that enhance them to move about and become invasive. This transformation allows cancer cells to detach from the primary tumor, invade surrounding tissues, and migrate through the bloodstream or lymphatic system to establish new tumors in distant locations. Metastasis involves the physical dissemination of cancer cells from the primary tumor to distant tissues, and the adaptation of these cells to foreign tissue microenvironments that results in successful colonization. That is the growth of micrometastases into macroscopic tumors. Recently, 2 more hallmarks have been added and are referred to as emerging hallmarks. They include 1. Reprogramming energy metabolism. Chronic and uncontrolled cell proliferation, common in cancers, involves not only disrupted cell growth but also significant changes in energy metabolism. Normal cells convert glucose to pyruvate through glycolysis, primarily using aerobic respiration, while cancer cells often rely on aerobic glycolysis, a phenomenon first described by Otto Warburg. This allows cancer cells to metabolize glucose inefficiently, even in the presence of oxygen. Interestingly, some tumors consist of 2 distinct populations of cells. One group relies on glucose and secretes lactate, while the other group absorbs lactate from neighboring cells as its primary energy source. Furthermore, oxygen levels within tumors vary due to irregular blood vessel formation, indicating that altered energy metabolism is a hallmark of cancer cells. This raises the possibility that disrupted cellular energy metabolism should be recognized as a fundamental characteristic of cancer, driven by oncogenes that promote proliferation. Another emerging hallmark of cancer is evading immune destruction. A key issue in tumor formation is the immune system's ability to resist or eliminate early cancerous changes and establish tumors. The theory of immune surveillance posits that a vigilant immune system continuously monitors for nascent cancer cells, eliminating many before they can develop into solid tumors. Tumors that form likely evade immune detection or minimize immune destruction. This theory is bolstered by the higher incidence of certain cancers in immunocompromised individuals, although many of these cases are linked to viral infections, highlighting that effective cancer regulation often involves managing viral loads. Recent studies, including work with genetically engineered mice and clinical data, indicate that the immune system is also vital in preventing tumor formation in non-virus-induced cancers. Tumors tend to develop more frequently and grow more rapidly in immunodeficient mice exposed to carcinogens compared to their immunocompetent counterparts. The hallmarks of cancer highlight the functional traits that allow normal cells to transform into malignant tumors, essential for their progression. If you found this video helpful or informative, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more health and wellness content. Stay healthy, everyone.